Pablo Picasso grew up with a mind that never stayed still, constantly jumping, twisting, and reshaping ideas the way restless hands might crumple, tear, and rebuild paper if imagination itself were a living creature that refused to sit quietly. He was born in 1881 in the Spanish city of Malaga, a place filled with bright sunlight, salty sea air, lively streets, and colorful traditions, where rhythm, movement, and emotion seemed to dance naturally through everyday life. From his earliest years, Pablo showed an unusual intensity, staring longer than other children, asking strange questions, and drawing constantly, as though his thoughts moved faster than spoken language could possibly keep up with. His father, an art teacher himself, quickly noticed that Pablo's drawings carried confidence far beyond his age, not timid or decorative, but bold, curious, and strangely sure of themselves. While other children practiced letters and numbers with hesitation, Pablo practiced lines, shapes, and shadows with fearless speed, treating paper not as something fragile, but as a playground for ideas. He learned quickly, sometimes frustrating teachers by improving too fast, absorbing rules only to bend them, question them, and eventually toss them aside once he understood their limits. Art schools came and went, yet Pablo never truly belonged to them, because he learned not by memorizing instructions, but by testing boundaries and daring mistakes. As a teenager, he could already paint with impressive realism, yet realism alone bored him, feeling like a locked room rather than an open world. He wanted art to think, to move, to surprise, and to argue with the viewer instead of politely pleasing them. When Pablo moved to Paris, the beating heart of modern art, he entered a city buzzing with invention, rivalry, laughter, hunger, and ambition, where artists debated fiercely in cafes until ideas collided like fireworks. Paris did not welcome him gently, as money was scarce, rooms were cold, and recognition painfully slow, yet struggle sharpened his focus rather than weakening it. During this time, his paintings grew darker, quieter, and heavier, filled with blues and shadows that reflected loneliness, poverty, and deep empathy for forgotten people. He painted beggars, performers, and outsiders with dignity and sadness, showing that sorrow could be honest, powerful, and deeply human. Yet even sadness could not hold him forever, because Picasso refused to remain in one emotional or artistic place for too long. Gradually, color returned, warmth appeared, and his curiosity pulled him forward again, searching for new ways to see the world. Picasso began asking dangerous questions about art, wondering why paintings needed to show things exactly as I saw them. He wondered why one moment, one angle, or one perspective should be enough to describe something as complex as reality. These questions led him toward bold experiments, where objects broke apart and reassembled on canvas like puzzles seen from multiple viewpoints at once. Together with fellow artists, Picasso helped create Cubism, a style that shocked audiences by showing faces, guitars, and rooms fractured into shapes and planes. To many viewers, these paintings looked confusing or even funny, yet Picasso understood that confusion was often the first step toward understanding something new. He believed that art should challenge the brain, tickle curiosity, and wake the imagination rather than gently lull it to sleep. Picasso painted as if playing an endless game, constantly changing rules, inventing new ones, and daring others to keep up. He laughed at tradition, teased expectations, and turned seriousness upside down with playful confidence. Yet beneath the humor lived discipline, focus, and endless hours of work that transformed wild ideas into powerful images. Picasso worked constantly, sketching, painting, and experimenting with sculpture, collage, and ceramics, treating creativity like breathing rather than a scheduled task. Every day became an opportunity to discover something unexpected. His studio filled with half-finished ideas, strange shapes, and bold colors, resembling a creative laboratory rather than a tidy workspace. People around him learned quickly that Picasso never stayed still, artistically or emotionally. He followed instinct wherever it led, even when it confused friends, critics, or collectors. To Picasso, comfort was dangerous because it could slow curiosity. As his fame slowly grew, so did his confidence, yet he never softened his hunger to explore. He understood that being good was never enough because greatness demanded risk. Art, for Picasso, was not about perfection, but about honesty and discovery. He wanted to show not just how things looked, but how they felt, moved, and existed in time. Each painting became a conversation between imagination and courage. Picasso refused to repeat himself, believing that repetition was the enemy of growth. He treated change not as betrayal, but as loyalty to creativity itself. As audiences struggled to keep up, Picasso kept moving forward. His journey had only just begun. As Picasso grew older, success followed him closely, yet fame never slowed his curiosity because he believed that an artist who stopped experimenting simply because people approved had already begun fading. Money and recognition arrived, but Picasso treated them like background noise, interesting yet unimportant compared to the thrill of discovery. He changed styles again and again, exploring bright colors, wild shapes, playful distortions, and powerful symbolism with fearless energy. Picasso's paintings often felt like puzzles, inviting viewers to think, imagine, and laugh at their own expectations. Faces bent sideways, eyes wandered freely, and bodies transformed into bold arrangements of shapes that refused ordinary logic. Children often found his work exciting because it felt like drawing without fear, where imagination mattered more than correctness. Picasso believed children understood art better than adults because they had not yet learned to limit their creativity with rules. He once said that it took a lifetime to learn how to paint like a child because freedom must be rediscovered through effort. This playful philosophy guided his later years, where art became faster, looser, and more instinctive. Even as the world changed through wars and uncertainty, Picasso responded through powerful images that reflected fear, anger, and hope. His famous work Guernica transformed pain and tragedy into a massive visual cry, showing how art could speak when words failed. Yet Picasso never allowed darkness to define him completely because humor and curiosity always returned. He loved masks, costumes, and bold exaggeration, turning seriousness into something flexible and alive. Picasso treated art like a language with infinite dialects. He painted, sculpted, built, and invented until creativity felt endless. Old age did not quiet him, but sharpened his instincts. His later works exploded with color, energy, and bold simplicity, proving that curiosity does not expire with time. Picasso continued working daily, driven by momentum rather than obligation. He believed that action defeated fear. When Picasso died in 1973, the world realized it had not simply lost a painter, but a force that had permanently changed how people see. Museums filled with his work, yet his true legacy lived in ideas rather than objects. Artists learned from Picasso that permission is never required to experiment. Students learned that mistakes are not failures, but steps forward. Children learned that imagination has no single correct shape. Picasso's life teaches that creativity thrives on bravery and curiosity. He showed that thinking differently is not a flaw, but a gift. Art through Picasso became a playground for ideas. He reminds us that rules can be tools, but never cages. His journey proves that change is not something to fear. Picasso's spirit lives on whenever someone dares to try something new. Every bold line carries his influence. Every strange idea echoes his courage. He challenges us to stay curious, to stay playful, to stay brave. Picasso's story whispers that imagination is strongest when it refuses to stand still. And if we listen closely, his life still invites us to see the world not as it is, but as it could be.